All right, welcome to Nothing But Anarchy. I'm Chad Sanders. There's so much for us to get into today. I'm just going to get right to it. Thank you for being here at Chad Sand on Instagram, at Chad Sand on Instagram. But if you want to reach me, DM Moby Williams on Instagram, at MOBY Williams on Instagram. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel, all that. Do the stuff. Please just do the stuff. You know the stuff. So, don't touch the mic, Chad. There are many things to talk about here, and I'm going to start here with just an update, which is, this was, I would say, Saturday to Wednesday of this week. So Saturday until maybe midday yesterday was one of the more stressful 4-day periods of my life. Certainly one of the more stressful of my adult life, and absolutely one of the most stressful of the last, let's call it 5 years. COVID, I guess, COVID survival notwithstanding. And to speak to the reasons why that was so, first of all, I think almost nobody knew that. A few people knew that. People who I needed to lean on to help me sort of process and get through the things that were stressing me out knew that. But Josh probably didn't know that. Morgan didn't know that. It had nothing to do with them, and so they needed not to know that. But it was difficult stretch. And what I will say about the things that were stressing me out, what's grammatically correct here? What I will say is, it is, I cannot deny at this point. I did come in here and say I'm not reading DMs no more. That much I did say.
Sure did.
That was probably one small tell. But there has been a snowball effect of people unloading their reactions to Yearbook on me, which started off very purely positive And as such, like a fool, I drank from the fire hose because I was having such a good time basking in the applause around my show, my series coming out. And I would say that that stream of positivity has continued. And sprinkled in, there have also been moments of complaint, conflict. I wish it were more like this. This is what I remember, blah, 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 whatever. Specifics not important. And what I am realizing, what I had to come to grips with this week, this was the week. I said on the 18th, no, on the 19th, that was my last day reading DMs. And I have stuck to that. That is so. I'm not, if I don't want to communicate with you, I will not. That is the rule as it stands right now. However, got through the week, processed the things, did the adult things I needed to do to like keep this thing moving, to keep the train on the track, and the train being both the entities that we are building here, Nothing But Anarchy, my new project that's coming out soon, scripted series that I'm working on, just everything that I have going on, continuing to build those, yearbook, which comes out every Friday, but also like me, keeping me on the track. That is the thing I'm coming to grips with as the most important part of my job, is managing me as a person. And to do so, I've called it a pivot. Now, it's a pivot in a couple ways, and we're going to talk about other people around the industry who are realizing the grave circumstances of the entertainment industry and having real emotion in those realizations. But my pivot in business is from work for hire, mercenary, creative, come, oh my God, pick me, I want to write your TV series, to storyteller, mini studio personality, independent. Like we make our stuff, we put it out, we market it, we monetize it, we own it. That's the pivot in a business sense. But in what's happening underneath that business, I hope this is interesting to someone, is I have also changed entirely the people around me to make that so. I came in and chased down a very Hollywood team, a team of, frankly, people who had clients much, 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 much bigger and more important and more monetizable than I, as a newcomer off the street. And they took me on, honestly, I think because they saw potential. It cost them very little to take me on. It's like a venture capital fund putting a tiny little bet on something that they think might blow up. And, if all else fails, if I completely fall off the face of the earth and I'm useless to them financially, they still have client X, Y, and Z. And if they're producers, they still have creative X, Y, and Z who they work with. And if they're writers, they still have production company X, Y, and Z. I've gone from that over to a team of people who I actually feel supported by, because when things like this happen, when there are difficulties for me, I don't want to reach out to the people who I need to help me and have to face the fact that they don't give a shit whether it works out for me or not. That sucks. And I've been there, and that really sucks. It's the loneliest place in the world to be. So I feel grateful right now that I knew who I could call, and I knew who would call me to help me move through the thing. And in other places and in other ways, like, I feel that way about Josh. I feel that way about Morgan. Charlotte, for as much as I've gotten to know you, I feel like you do an incredible thing in here, which is you volunteer your time just to be here and bring good energy. But like, that's not a small thing. That is more than what most people in this industry are even willing to do for you in terms of support. Now, that's the pivot that I'm making. And we're going to talk about, I am in an industry where I personally believe every creative artist, actor, producer, director, anybody who gets paid, I think, what do we call it? Above the line. Anybody who gets paid like to do one of these hyper creative jobs, but not like, they're all creative jobs, but like not, holding a camera, not carrying a boom or a mic or whatever. Like, I'm talking about the people I just described. I think all of us who are capable and who are smart right now need to be pivoting into a more into a business where they have more control. That might mean less guaranteed money on the outset. That might mean when you do work, you have to do more work on speculation. That means you have to do more things before you get paid so that the payout is bigger and you own it and you're paid dividends on it down the line. That might mean you have to turn down an acting job that's going to pay you, let's say, $150,000 for 3 months of your time, and you can't do anything else, and it's going to pay you in these tiny little increments over time, and then you're going to get, I don't want to spoil a part that's coming later in the show, but like you're going to end up walking away with like 20% of that check in real life, which off the top of my head is like $30,000 on a $150,000 job. You might have to say no to some of those things that seem alluring, because this industry, if it was bad 2 years ago, it was worse this year. There was like no work, and it's only going to shrink and crush us even more because the industry knows how much leverage it has over us. We're going to get to that later with Taraji P. Henson. But the point is this. I was stressed, so stressed, Saturday to Wednesday, so incredibly stressed. Didn't sleep great last night. But part of why I didn't sleep great last night was it was like, when you've just like gone through something really crazy and it's just like your mind is just like processing, what you just went through, right? Even if it's internal, even if it's just something emotional that you went through. So finally get some good sleep last night, fall asleep on the couch. I was supposed to go out and meet some friends. They wanted to go out late. I couldn't go out that late because I had to do this today. Fall asleep on the couch. Penny falls asleep in the little nook in the couch right next to me. That's if you've never slept next to a giant dog, that is a very peaceful way to sleep. You feel very protected. And there have been studies that say that like humans have evolved with dogs in a way that makes sleep better when you can hear the light snoring of a dog somewhere near you, a dog that you know. So anyway, I was sleeping very well, woke up in the middle of the night, all of a sudden couldn't sleep anymore, was just thinking, nothing. It wasn't crazy negative, it wasn't crazy scary, it was like processing my life right now. Ooh, am I going to stay in New York? Am I going to move to DC? I've been thinking about it, family, friends, etc., whatever. I wake up this morning, and I've told y'all before, I make a point not to check my texts until I have finished doing this show. That's a rule, and I'm working on it. I haven't, because the problem is there are some people I want to hear from on show days. There's some people who we have similar interests. We live in similar corners of the internet. We have it's great to hear from my sister, Tim, Jonathan Cooper, Justin, Leon. Like, we have similarly shaped interests in the world. And so I love hearing from them. I hate hearing from many other people because they mean to sort of like pull my energy into something that serves them and not what I need it for, which is this show. But I always got to text Morgan because Morgan is Morgan. And I always love hearing from Morgan. I never feel bad to hear from Morgan. I wake up, I search Morgan's name in my phone so I can check it without seeing my other texts. And I'll just read what she's texted me. Josh, do you know what she texted me?
I can assume a couple of things about the show, but you guys also have your own sort of conversations that y'all be having back and forth.
Okay, I just didn't know if she had already spoiled this part. I wake up and Morgan has texted me at 3:52 a.m. last night, which means she's on the West Coast. But she says, Shaq commented on your Instagram. He's mad, but shit, Shaq commented on your Instagram with an emoji. And I knew exactly why he had commented on my Instagram. It's because yesterday we put up a reel where I'm talking about Zion Williamson being bullied by sports media, specifically naming Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, two guys who played most of their careers fat and were ridiculed similarly for doing so, and eventually like got themselves in shape and out of shape and in shape and out of shape, whatever. And now they are coming down on Zion Williamson, along with so many other people in the sports media. They are, I don't even want to say just coming down on him. Like they're poking at him. They are talking to him in public about what kind of shape he's in. I did not in that clip, however, say, well, let me just read the comment. This is the comment from Mr. Shaquille. Shaq commented, that's such what a funny way to be able to start this segment. Shaq commented underneath this video. It was, I think, the third comment. So very few people had commented. Quincy commented because he takes issue with something that I said there, which I'm going to call him later to see what that is. Somebody else commented. And then Shaq comments. He says, I hate stupid people like you. I never called him fat. Pay attention, get it right. With no punctuation and many words abbreviated. So I have reason to believe that this is indeed the real Shaq. And before I respond, let me tell you how I process that information. I'm in bed, by the way. I'm in bed, okay? I'm in bed checking a text from Morgan that says... And I have just finished doing a couple other things before checking the text. I watched a very cringe music video that Drake put out, which I can talk about later if we get to it. I looked at a couple other things. I was just, in the mornings before the show, I have a routine, and part of that routine is like, take in something that will inspire you. And I was quite inspired by this. This is the big Aristotle. Like, Shaq is a superhero character if you are like me, a 35-year-old millennial. Like, it's Shaq. And on top of that, like, and this is so different from the experience I've had with some comments and some DMs lately, whatever. Like, even though he's saying something mean, I love Shaq. Like, it's Shaq, you guys. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he's literally saying he hates me. He hates me. But it's fucking Shaq. Like, so I can't help but feel like I cut it. I can take a screenshot. I send it to a couple friends who I know will think it's funny. I thought Quincy had already seen it because he commented too on the thing. And Quincy asks me basically like, how do you feel seeing Shaq reply to you? And so then I start thinking about, how do I feel? Well, I feel seen, which is a nice feeling. I feel honestly like sparred with in a way. Like I feel surprised that Shaq found his way to this reel, however it came to him. I texted it out to Leon, a couple other guys, and most of them asked like, how did he find it? Did you add him? And I said, no, I didn't, but I literally hashtag Shaq because he's Shaq. So I'm processing how I feel to be seen by Shaq. And I asked Quincy, and this part's important because Quincy thinks I'm going to call him later to talk about Zion Williamson, but I'm actually going to surprise him and ask him about this. This part's important because, like, let me not get it twisted. It felt very nice to be noticed by Shaq. It felt good. It felt like a step on the ladder for this show. Okay, somebody who is squarely in the arena of what this show's subject matter is heard us and didn't just hear us, but felt something and replied. So whether or not he actually likes what I had to say, presumably he heard it. And maybe he'll let it in some way, right? Now, I had two thoughts. I had several thoughts on how to reply here because I like language. Like, it felt like somebody saying on guard. You know what I mean? Like, let's do talking with each other. Yeah. That's sparring. And I'm like, I'm laughing to myself because I'm like, I'm really good at that. Like, if that's what he wants to do, I thought about saying something like this to you guys. I thought about saying something like this. Shaq is quite literally 18 inches taller than me, thereabouts. I would say 200 pounds heavier than me.
All right.
And even still, if he is calling me stupid, the discrepancy between our intelligence level is wider than that. The gap is even bigger than that in the reverse. You know what I'm saying? I'm 20 inches taller, and when I thought about saying it, I was like, but I don't even believe that. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I could come in here and be like, Shaq's a dumbass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shaq, no, I'm not stupid. You're stupid. But like,
he's a smart dude.
Shaq's not stupid.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So even that was a part of the processing where I'm like, I am surprised that Shaq is even this much in the weeds of the internet and how the internet is talking about him to reply here to say, I hate stupid people like you. And then on top of that, the first words out of my mouth in the reel, Shaq saying he is trying to defend himself by saying, I didn't even call him fat. Get it right. That's what Shaq's saying. The first words out of my mouth in the reel are, Zion is fat. I said it. I'm the one who said it. I don't even accuse Shaq of saying it. So anyway, this is internet stuff, whatever, but this is important, and I'm going to say why. Quincy is the person to ask the question that came up next, which is, Quincy says to me, I'm not going to read it off, I'm going to paraphrase. He says, how are you going to reply? Something like that. Or what are you going to do? Are you going to reply? And I was like, I don't know. Should I? And he says, and Quincy, listen, he's a good hang. He's a football guy. He's got a lot of bro shit about him. He's a coach. You know what I'm saying? He's jolly. Like, he's Quincy. He's fucking Quincy. You know what I mean? But do not get it twisted. Quincy is fucking sharp as a tack. And his response is, and he was coaching me. He wanted me to know this. He says, if you want people to see the video, reply. And like, we all know that's the rules. Like, we all know if you want to promote your shit, get into a tete-a-tete on the internet with somebody famous, and you will have a better chance for people to see your thing, even though that's not really like my vibe. My vibe is like, put your shit out, let it out, like, see how people respond. But when Quincy said that, it just opened up my mind to what I have watched Quincy do. Quincy has built a profile for himself, I would say, largely on the strength of his brand as a quarterback coach and as a world-class trainer of athletes, but also because Quincy knows how to get people with big profiles on the internet tangled in these little sparring matches where the result is that both he and them reach a larger audience because they're having a fight. I've seen him do it 20 times, okay? And I'm not even I don't even check Twitter like that, but Twitter knows when I go to Twitter, I'm there to see Quincy, and particularly I'm there to see who is Quincy fighting with today, okay? Now, why that is all important is because on Tuesday, I just told y'all that when George Santos and Z-Way sit across from each other in a room with cameras to spar, to battle each other, they are not actually battling. They're not actually fighting over anything. Nobody's protecting their side. You're not being represented by Z-Way and they're represented by George Santos. No, there's two people doing a paid performance for you as the audience, as the ticket holder, and the money comes out of your pocket. The time comes out of your time in the day. The advertising dollars funnel through to them. You don't see a penny. So as I'm putting the pieces together of this whole thing, what I'm going to be weighing now is when people like Shaq get mad, because I literally told Morgan, let's get spicier on this show. Like, and I'm not just doing spice to do spice. Like, ask any one of my friends who I named in the previous part of this segment, who I said, like, I like to talk to them because we have similar interests. Like, ask them if my tone is any different when we're talking about sports outside of here, talking about culture outside of here, and then when I'm doing it right here on this microphone. It's the same. And in fact, I was coming in here and playing it a little bit cute in the beginning because I just wanted us to, I was figuring out what the show was. And I was figuring out what my voice was in this show. But this is my voice now. And so if people want to respond to that and say on guard, like, that might not be bad for the show. I guess we'll see. If I can manage it emotionally, if it doesn't cost me too much time and energy thinking about these people outside of here, maybe we'll do some more of that. Maybe we won't. I don't know. All right, that's a pretty good segment. Thank you, Shaq, for listening to the show. That was such fantastic fan mail to wake up to. Josh?
I was just going to say, your sister also said, Shannon's in the chat, she said, he's bullying you because he's mad you implied he's a bully. This is ridiculous.
That is indeed ridiculous. That is the irony. Thank you. My sister's very sharp. It is true. He felt bullied by me calling him a bully. I still don't know if he watched the reel, because if he had, he would see I did not accuse him of calling Zion fat. Like, maybe I did in the episode. I can't remember. But I rewatched the first thing I said to Morgan was, now we got to figure out if I actually called him fat. Because, no, I'm sorry. Yeah. Now we got to figure out if Shaq actually called him fat. Which I don't know if he did or did. I did a quick Google. I don't know if he did or didn't. I do know that he ridiculed him for his fatness and for being out of shape. And like, this is not new. That's the other thing. Like, this is not new for Shaq. This is what Shaq does when big-bodied NBA players, Joel Embiid, Dwight Howard, Brendan Haywood, Zion Williamson. It's actually, now, this is where there is some real shit. When he sees guys who have a body type that nobody's body type resembles Shaq. Let me get that clear. But when he sees guys who are kind of in his like weight class, he seems to feel an inclination to bully them. He seems to feel like he needs to do something to assert some level of I'm the big man dominance over them. And he will oftentimes, and this is important because this is actually, fuck the segment break. This was actually what I wrote down on my phone as the next place I wanted to go. He will package it in, and this is what the unks will hit you with. He will package it in some loosely, lightly veiled form of like, oh, I just want what's best for this dude. I'm just coaching him. I'm just trying to give him some game. This is how you do it, whatever. That's horseshit. I have said before, the unks are not out here giving free lunches to the young guys, okay? Another level, another dimension of this thing that I saw here was, okay, our show is growing. Shaq still, from where he sits as an Emmy winner on the biggest and, in my opinion, best sports show on television, he probably had to wear 3 pairs of binoculars to see this show, okay? But let me just go where I'm going. That is to say, this show sits very far away from where his show sits in terms of size of platform. But I know there are people in my life who care about me and who care about themselves, who look at how I move sometimes, and they're like, you are potentially burning bridges, pissing people off who can help you. And Shaq is no longer a basketball player. Shaq does what I do for a living. Like, we have the same job. We talk to y'all. We communicate with y'all. That's the job. Now, he does it on that big-ass platform. I do it on this little engine that could. That I think, I told y'all this. They always say, be careful how you treat people on the way up, because you're going to see those people on the same way down. Well, one way or another, I do feel strongly that me and these people are going to cross paths, okay? Because I've already seen that happen in my Hollywood life. There are, in fact, people who cannot get a call back from me who wanted very badly to use me as like their in-house creatives a few years ago, unpaid, when I needed some help, okay? We see each other, and we both know what it is, and we don't say it because, like, that's how it works. That's what the whole parable is about. So I'm certain I will see Chuck and Shaq and Kenny Smith and all these guys in suits, and I promise you, I will see them. But they were never gonna fuck with me anyway. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all is Spike gave me big love out the gate. So much love. The other famous unks that y'all be seeing their names fly around and stuff like that, man, like somebody asked me on Instagram yesterday, do you have mentors? And I have business advisors. I have people who are older and have seen more and have been a part of big things that have built over time who I want to tap into how they see the world and what they see for the future. And like, but that's different. I don't think that's what I'm being asked. I think they're being asked like, do you have a godfather in all this? You always hear about like, man, I wouldn't have been, Michael B. Jordan's like, I wouldn't have been here if Denzel hadn't like reached out and like, I don't have that. And frankly, I think a lot of that is make-believe. I think when people tell those stories in those ways, they're telling you a story, okay? Because it sounds nice. Like, oh, man, I wouldn't have made it here if so-and-so hadn't just reached back and lent their hand. If Kenya Bears hadn't just, It's like, that's not real life. And if I'm making decisions depending on, man, maybe Shaq will want you to be his producer one day or like writing his, I don't want to be Shaq's goddamn producer. Like, are you kidding me? Do I need to read the message again? Anyway. Okay.
Music.
Music. Yeah. That felt really good. Thank you, Shaq. Also, I love Shaq. I can't say that strongly enough. I love Shaq. Who doesn't like Shaq? So, Shaq. All right, man. Said that, my sister? Yeah, he is my birthday.
We are back.
Sorry, we're back. Charlotte just pointed out that my sister said in the chat, indeed, Shaq is also my birthday twin. That's my Pisces brother. We have literally the same exact birthday.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's also kind of crazy.
That's funny.
That's what I should have replied. I'm like, damn, nigga, on your birthday twin? Okay, all right, let's be serious because this next topic is serious, all right? Enough. Shaq, enough with you, okay? Get your big ass out of here. So, I need to pick this up. You know what I'm saying? My eyes. Okay. There's a new color purple coming out. We're gonna do movie reviews in a bit also, and you're gonna hear how I process a movie, given that I know no actors and by name. But okay, there's a new color purple coming out, produced, I believe, once again by Oprah and Steven Spielberg, if I'm not mistaken. I do think I will watch this because which one's Hallie and which one's Chloe? Hallie's the mermaid. Hallie's in it, and I think she's fire. And other people are in it. Obviously, Taraji P. Henson is in it. That's news to me. And She was on Gayle King's Sirius XM show. And when asked whether she has plans to quit acting, Taraji P. Henson said this.
Are you thinking about it?
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over. You get tired. I hear people go, you work a lot. Well, have to. The math ain't mathing. And when you start working a lot, you know, you have a team. Big bills come with what we do. We don't do this alone. The fact that we're up, here's a whole entire team behind us.
Yes.
They have to get paid. So when you hear someone saying, oh, such and such made $10 million, no, that's not, that didn't make it to their account. Know that off the top, Uncle Sam is getting 50%.
That's right.
Okay? So do the math. Now we have 5 million. Your team is getting 30% or whatever your team is off of what you grossed,
Sometimes
not
more.
after what Uncle Sam took. Now do the math. So
You're tired.
I'm only human, and it seems every time I do something and I break another glass ceiling, when it's time to renegotiate, I'm at the bottom again, like I never did what I just did, and I'm just tired. I'm tired. I'm tired.
I get that.
It wears on you, you know? Because what does that mean? What is that telling me?
What is it telling me? Yeah. And what does it tell me? Yeah.
You know? And if
I'm sorry, I laughed. No, it's not funny. I'm about to say it's not funny. I'm sorry. Like Morgan, I too laugh at awkward things or things that are affecting me emotionally. I do think that there's a young actress sitting next to her.
Yeah,
who
that's
says,
it. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of
Yeah, I mean, I think she speaks for all of us in
Yeah.
all circumstances. When someone is showing emotion and being like, "These are all these things that this means for me," and then niggas like, "Yeah," and also like, "What does it mean for me?" Like, I think she spoke for us all in that moment. But all right, let's be fucking serious here. This is serious. Shaq, get out of here. Okay, Shaq's trying to make the whole show silly, and you can't, Shaq. Okay, so Taraji P. Henson, I believe is from DC. I'm from Maryland. Thinking about moving to DC. So I believe in Taraji P. Henson. Taraji P. Henson's greatest performance, in my opinion, is as Terrence Howard's love interest in Hustle and Flow. I enjoyed that. Could somebody, Josh or Charlotte, can anybody with a phone quickly access how old is Taraji P. Henson? This is important. I'm going somewhere here. Because as she was talking, how old is she? Roughly. I want to guess 53.
Damn, I am terrible at this. Hold on. 53, yeah.
Wow,
53
I'm
years
nice. Okay. I'm good at ages, y'all. So Taraji P. Henson, 53. I'm 35. 17 years of difference there. That's a lie. 18 years. So I was an English major, guys. I processed what she was saying in so many different ways, and I'm gonna speak to a few of them. One is quite literally just while listening to her, she was stressing me the fuck out. I was starting to think in my head, okay, who do I need to check in with about this thing, this thing, this thing? I have stuff planned to launch at the top of the year. I have a deal in negotiation right now. There are decisions I have to make about money and expenditures on a regular basis as I'm trying to pivot again from being work for hire into independent entrepreneur. Those are two different things in my opinion. Taraji P. Henson is a part of, I would say she's almost a generation and a half ahead of or older than, or however you want to put it, me and my contemporaries in this entertainment business, okay? She's been in the game for like 30 years, basically. And I have to imagine, as I am 35 and I am already thinking about, am I putting the right vehicles in place so that when I am 40, 45, 50, that it's not going to feel so daunting to me, the idea that maybe I need to slow down in my work life because I don't have the energy. I have a family that needs my attention. I have other interests, or maybe I just don't want to fucking work like this forever. Okay. I'm 35 looking at it that way. Part of why I'm thinking about those things now is because, especially in this business, but I think this is the case for most Americans, like the shape of the economy and the shape of industries and the shape of wages and taxes right now reduce almost all of us to living check to check. That is a statement that cannot even be, that is an unassailable statement, okay? That is quantifiable. Now, I've said this before differently than how Taraji just said it, but I think most people don't realize that even the actor who makes $5 million, $10 million a year is also living check to check because, and I'm going to read Robin Thede's Twitter thread because I think she says it well, and I don't want to just try to say it as good as her. I'm just going to say what she said. Being an entity, like being a public figure, being an entertainer is an expensive, it is a high risk, high reward endeavor, which is to say it's not like Taraji P. Henson doesn't just like roll out of bed and be Taraji P. Henson. She has people she's got to pay to do her hair, her makeup, social media team, managers, agents, lawyers. Like she has a staff. She probably has a team of like 10 to 30 people working around her, all feeding off of the Taraji P. Henson trough. And so as you can hear, like she's not giving a TED talk there. That's real. I watched it with my eyeballs. I saw a real person showing real exhaustion, real emotion, real facing, I think, the daunting truth that she worked her butt off for the last 30 years thinking that something would happen, some corner would be turned where all of a sudden she was making so much money that those expenditures did not eat out of all of it to the point where she had to keep doing it into her 50s. She thought that mega windfall was coming, but that is not how entertainment is built. Entertainment is not built to make talent wealthy. It is built to make studios wealthy. It is meant to make those 8 people at the top of the Wikipedia page. If you Google Netflix, HBO Max, Viacom, NBC Universal, like Fox, it's built to make those people wealthy. People whose faces you will never see. It's not built to make Taraji wealthy. It's not built to make Chad wealthy. And so that I really just came to understand in the last few years, even though smart people from my previous life, shout out to Ed, shout out to Shields, shout out to my man Garth. Like people tried to like knock me upside the head and say like, dog, do what you're doing, but have a plan to make this fuel you. Like, have a plan to turn this on its head so that you're the one who reaps the rewards of this and not the people who have these little tiny bets made on you. Not all these little handler people who are like actually not paying you any mind, but you cut a check to every time you get one. I only just started listening recently because one, I be working like shit. Like I have hella jobs and I'm not rich. That's part of it is like, I've read on 2 shows. I put a book out. I got 4 podcasts. I do all these little mini appearances and shit like that. And like, I'm not rich. So one, it was just like she just said, the math was not mathing. But the other reason is because of this strike. The strike gave me time and space to start building something else and to remind me like, oh, these people have you by the neck. Like it's not supposed to be a drought just that easy if somebody just says it's a drought. Like it's not supposed to be that simple for somebody to just cut your water off. I see in that video a 53-year-old woman who has been working. Taraji P. Henson is always in something. Like Taraji P. Henson don't miss a year of work, okay? So if she is crying because she's stressed and tired and she's not getting ahead of the 8 ball, that tells me that like even if she was aware that that was something she needed to reconfigure, she didn't do it. And it's hard to do it. Like, trust me, it's hard. So let me read Robin Thiede's tweet thread, because even though I said I was going to do that before I did my spiel, I didn't do it, but now I'm going to do it because I'm a good boy. Shit. How do I open it? All right, here we go. Here goes. That was a little Mario music for y'all as you wait. Also, much better with the music today, Morgan. I actually like letting Morgan choose and being surprised by the music. Okay, here's what Robin Thede has to say about it. You guys like Robin Thede? Okay, you do. Do you like Robin Thede?
I have no idea who this
Don't know who Robin Thede is. Okay. She gets very strong reactions out of people, and I actually have never known why, but here we go. Okay. Robin Thede says, watch this. Taraji is telling the absolute truth. 70 to 80% of gross income is gone off top for taxes and commissions, agents, managers, and lawyers. Okay. So what she is saying there, 70 to 80% of gross income. There's gross income and net. If this is review for anybody, I'm sorry, but people need to know this. There's gross income and there's net income. Those are two very important terms that are used in contracts in entertainment and across industries. When somebody says gross income, they're talking about if you get paid on gross revenue for ticket sales, like from the first dollar, that means that you're getting paid your percentage. No matter how much the movie makes in profit or doesn't make in profit, if it ends up at a loss, you get paid regardless. That's gross. So she's saying 70 to 80% of gross income is gone off the top. If it was net, that would mean like after all these reductions and people take all their little cuts and stuff, that's net. That's different. But gross is like, you get your check, it's $100,000. 10% goes to your agent. 10% goes to your manager. 5% goes to your, these are the real figures. 5% goes to your lawyer. Uncle Sam takes 40 to 50%. There's almost nothing left, okay? You got to, I'm doing the thing I said I wasn't going to do. And for those who pay other employees as well, baby, the math ain't mathin'. And I know you're like $10 million minus $8 million is still $2 million. This is just the very first tweet. There's more coming. Oh, shit. Hold on. Damn it. I'm going to have to do this with my phone.
But even after that, like, you have to, these people live a certain lifestyle that they need to keep up, for lack of better words, keep up with the Joneses to have appearances and stuff like that. So it's just like, she's got to make sure that she has her hair done. She has to pay for clothes. She has to do all these things that come along with the job, of just simply appearing to be a famous person and a famous actor. And all those things also chip away at that extra $2 million or $1 million that's left over.
They all cost money. Robin Thede is going to tell us more about it, because she's living this life, but at a lower income than Taraji P. Henson. She says, yes, that's true. However, $10 million is very rare. Most of your favorite back actresses make about $250,000 to $500,000 for starring in movies. So 50 to 100K net, and might only get one project a year. Now they have to pay social media managers, because y'all will drag them if they don't have dope content. Stylists, because y'all will drag them if they look busted. Hair, wigs, because y'all will drag them if they look busted. Not to mention important shit like childcare, school for said kids, keeping a roof over their heads, somewhere they can feel safe with their family, away from paparazzi who invade their privacy. I know this life looks glamorous for someone like her, and I know there will be comments like $100,000 is a lot of money. It is, but do the math of all of it, and it's often still living check to check and not creating generational wealth, especially living in LA, New York, all the while watching non-black actors get paid way more. This woman is Oscar nominated. Imagine the struggle for 99% of the rest. Maybe folks won't relate, but that's also the issue. Being misunderstood and people just assuming they're quote unquote rich. So the next time y'all see the actor working at Trader Joe's, maybe it will hit different. Okay, now my reaction changes after reading that, okay? I have a few reactions here. Keep it a stack with y'all. Okay. There's a different life you can live if you cannot live with the risk of trying to live your dream. Let me say it differently. There's a safer lifestyle than chasing after Hollywood, trying to be an actress, trying to be an actor, trying to be a director, trying to be a musician, trying trying to be an entrepreneur. There is a safer lifestyle available. Now, it still has its own pitfalls. It still has its own risk baked in. It still has all the things that can derail you. But by and large, like, many of this country's guardrails are put in place to protect corporations, which means they need their employees somewhat protected, which is to say they need most of us who work at big companies or small companies to be able to like have enough to live, but just enough. Like, not enough to save up so that they can go shoot their shot to do something else, but just enough to like make it to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And so for that reason, I think it's very understandable, relatable even, for somebody to look at Taraji P. Henson, Robin Thede, and say, oh, cry me a fucking river. You make $10 million and you only got $2 million at the end of it. And then you got to pay this person, that person. You still live in a beautiful house. You live a luxurious lifestyle. You get to be on TV. You get to live out your dream, et cetera, et cetera. Full stop. I think that's a reasonable response to all of this. I do. Robin Thede's response turned a corner from, I felt bad because I was just watching a human being express emotion and stress and exhaustion. But then the breakdown, which I honestly thought was well said and quite precise, I think it points to something different than what I think she's trying to point to. What I think she's trying to point to is like, feel bad for us. Feel bad for this person. If you see the actor at Trader Joe's, recognize that they landed there because that's how the system was built. And that's true. The takeaway for me, though, what it points to for me is like, we have to undermine the system. Like, we must bust out of this shit. Like, if Taraji P. Henson's got to live check to check, I know Chad Sanders has to take this on in a different way so that 18 years from now, I'm not looking up like, damn, man, like, I thought writing these books was going to make me wealthy. Like, what the fuck happened? Or I thought writing these TV shows was going to make me wealthy. Like, Kenya Barris got a big chain. I thought I was going to have a big chain. That's what it points to me. Is like, I see when I watch Taraji crying in that clip, I'd be stressed out. But she's 18 years older. I got 18 years between now and then. So I'm like, if I can just make a good choice every day or every other day for the next 18 years, maybe I don't end up in that spot. But maybe I do, because fucking AI is coming and who knows? Maybe it just washes this whole thing into the ocean. Okay, let's do some music here. And then when I come back, gotta talk about Ja Morant. Yay. Yeah. All right, Morgan, we were talking about you. You're going to be mad at me because I have a kombucha. It's very bubbly. But welcome back to Nothing But Anarchy. At Chad Sand on Instagram. If you want to reach me, at Moby Williams on Instagram is Morgan's Instagram handle. Reach her. Ja Morant came back. First game back. Grizzlies are playing at the Pelicans. That's a road game. Grizzlies are one of the worst teams in the league without Ja Morant. They won 6 games without him. I think they're something like 6-18 thereabouts. Terrible. Just disgusting. Horrible. Not fun to watch. Terrible team without Ja Morant. And Ja, who I don't want to do a full recount of everything that's been going on with Ja, but just to catch anybody up who hasn't been paying attention, Ja Morant, one of, if not the most young, marketable star in the NBA. an American-born black player, which is what the NBA loves. High flyer, 23 years old, maybe 22. Springy, about 6'2", 6'3", kind of like an Allen Iverson-like body type, but with Russell Westbrook explosiveness. Smart ball player, great team, like great floor leader as a basketball player, and controversial off-court life. Like that's what he has. He has self-documented himself playing with guns in a strip club, in a car. That self-documentation blew up, and among other off-court issues, like a fight that happened with a teenager at his house, allegedly in, I think in Tennessee. He got suspended from the NBA for 25 games. He just came back for his first game and played phenomenally, hit the game-winning basket at the end of the game. It was obviously a big moment. If you're watching, it was a big moment. It was a TNT game. It was a nationally televised game. Coincidentally, it was against Zion Williamson, who he played AAU basketball with. They were both in the same draft class. They were the number 1 and number 2 picks in that class. Zion went first. There's a lot of history between them. There's a lot of ridicule around them and their off-court lives. And thank God we got to just watch Ja play basketball. Like, we got to watch Ja do what he does better than everybody but maybe 10 people on earth right now, okay? And it would have been completely reasonable, given that he just took, I want to say, 7 months away from his team, 3 months off the court, missed 25 games. Would have been completely reasonable if he came back and he was rusty, he was a little out of shape, he was winded, and he just didn't have it. Like, he wasn't clicking. If he wasn't, if his timing was off, if he couldn't find his teammates, if he couldn't, he didn't just hit the game winner. Like, he came down and got clutch bucket at the rim over and over and over at the end of that game against a real rim protector in Jonas Valanciunas, 7'1" Lithuanian, and he hit the game winner. Okay. That I was watching the game, watching to see, this is important to me right now. I'm going to make this very human. Most of us who have jobs where you have to be in front of people, performers, musicians, entertainers, talking heads, whoever, basketball players. There is, I was listening to Drake's song Nonstop earlier today. There is a relentless nature of how quickly you have to get yourself, whatever you're going through, you have to get yourself at least back in a place where you can do the job in front of people quickly. Like, it is nonstop. It is like, you played the Pelicans today, whatever the fuck happens between today and 2 days from now, you got to be ready to play the Bulls. Then you got to be ready to play the Lakers. Then you got to be ready to play the Magic. And it's nonstop, all right? Lil Wayne has a show tonight. Lil Wayne has another show in Jersey tomorrow. Then he has another show in Atlanta the next day. Then he has another show in Detroit 2 days after that. It is relentless. And I would say being an entrepreneur is relentless. Would you agree with that, Josh?
Oh, absolutely.
It is nonstop. It is an everyday. At some point every day, somebody wants something from you. At least somebody.
All the time.
All the time. Now, this is important to me because I have as a life philosophy, I need to align myself in my work life with things that come naturally to me. So that in the event that something else demands my attention, fucks up my energy, like the Saturday to Wednesday that I just had, that in the event that there's something else that is nagging at me, I am in such a flow because I do the thing that I do naturally that I can still get it off even if I have other shit going on. Josh, did you know that I was going through anything on Tuesday?
I had no idea.
You had no clue, right? Because...
But you have to do... But, like, I'm the same way. Like, it's like you...
You must.
You must, because you have to... I mean... Even though, like, we know each other very well, like, there's plenty of things. People have no idea what I'm going through.
Of course not. And they can't. And they can't. And in most cases, like, they shouldn't. Because we're not supposed to know everything going on in Ja's life. We're not supposed to know that Ja got Ja had to go to court a couple weeks ago. We're not supposed to know that a fight happened at Ja's house. We're not supposed to know that Ja was in the strip club with a gun, but he showed us that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, and I don't even want to do like, is this a victory or not a victory for Ja or for the rest of us as fans or whatever. All I want to do is point out that it is astounding and worth mentioning that Ja is in such a flow state as a basketball player that with all those things happening in his life, he came back and in game 1, he got 32 points and hit the fucking game winner. Like, at the buzzer, no time left, game over, Grizzlies win. Possibly could turn the outlook of their entire season around because Ja is back. And when they interviewed him, the courtside interview after the game, the reporter standing there on the court next to Ja asks this is like right after his teammates have swarmed him. And by the way, his teammates love him if you just watch the video. His teammates swarm him. He's smiling. He's pumping his chest out. He's talking to the crowd. He's just Ja. Like, he is, if you take all that other stuff away, whatever you think about it, and you just look at the person, like the charisma of the person, he's an incredibly likable person as far as I can tell. He's having a good time. He loves what he's doing. He crushes it. He wins the game. Swarm him. He's celebrating. Someone comes over to ask him, how did you do this without all this rust and all this other stuff? And his reply, he says it twice. He just says, I'm a dog. I'm a dog. He says it 2 times. And please, Josh has it.
You were a little winded down the stretch. That's to be expected. How did you cope with that?
I'm a dog. I'm a dog. I put work in, day out.
That's it. That's all I need. That's all I need. He's saying the thing, which is like, that other stuff. If you asked me on Saturday through Wednesday, if you had asked me to learn how to change a part in my car, I would not have been able to. If you had asked Ja probably to, I don't know, let me not get to making up things Ja probably can't do well, but like, this is what you want your star player on the court. This is what you want that person to be. You want them to be someone who is so exceptional at doing the thing in repetition that no matter, this is as bad as his offseason life could have been over the last year, that they can just walk back on the court and just do the thing. It's like a magic trick. All right, that was Ja. I gotta go fast. Oh, 1 o'clock on the dot. I'm nice. Okay. Hold on. Getting good with the timing. Okay, y'all. About to call Quincy because Quincy, this is a Trojan horse. Quincy thinks I'm calling him to talk about how he disagrees with my Zion take. And Quincy's a football coach. Like, I know he disagrees with my Zion. My Zion take is like, oh my gosh, like Zion has feelings. Like, if he's fat, maybe it's because like he's not feeling good. And like, Quincy's a football coach. I know he doesn't like that take, but I'm actually calling Quincy because I want Quincy to give me the how-tos around how do you know what? I'm just going to ask him when I call him. Let's see if I can get him. Oh, wait. Am I calling him on here?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. That's all good.
Hi, Chad.
Quincy, you're on Nothing But Anarchy with Chad Sanders.
Okay, wasn't expected to be on the radio today. What's going on, good brother?
That's not true, Quincy. I told you I was gonna call you.
I thought you were joking. I mean, that doesn't really mean you tell me you're gonna call me all the time. You don't call me.
Okay, what do you think I'm calling for?
You're calling because Shaq was saying something on your post, and I told you that I disagreed with what you wrote too. So that's where we're at.
Okay, that's loosely true, but here's what I'm really calling for. I asked you, or you asked me, what are you going to do? Are you going to reply? Something like that. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to say. Should I reply? And your response to that was, yes, if you want people to see your video. Is that accurate?
That is very accurate.
Okay, now I've already set you up earlier on the show while you weren't here as a master of taking internet tete-a-tetes, internet sparring with public figures and turning it into a publicly viewable or accessible battle between you and them without, as far as I can tell, without significant cost to your own well-being or emotional health. Is that is that fair to say that you're good at that?
That's 100%. I would agree with that 1,000%.
Okay, could you just, for example, I was trying to think of some, but I didn't want to do you an injustice by missing the really good ones. Can you give a couple examples of some people? Can you give me like 4 or 5 good examples of people you have sparred with on the internet?
Man, I was thinking of it offhand. It's kind of difficult. All right, we got Brady Quinn, that little spar. We've got Sage Steele, that little spar. Kirk Herbstreit. These are just people I can think of off top.
Marcellus Wiley.
Yeah. Oh, Marcellus Wiley. Forgot about that one. That was pretty big. That turned into like segments on TV. I mean, most of those did.
Okay,
yeah.
So the reason why, generally speaking, I mean, this one was Shaq. So I was like, Shaq is sort of a lovable person, and he's also such a big celebrity figure that I didn't really feel in any way particularly threatened or like he was gonna like take it far. But I shy away for the most part from internet battling because it honestly, like, it fucks with me. Like, I take it home with me. Like, it's not, I can't just like
think about it later on in the day. Like, I can't, like, dang, how did that go? Like, how did they receive that? Or what do you care about?
I think a few things. One is, depending on who it is, like, sometimes I wonder, is there a real threat of actual action in real life? Which that's like, I would say that's like 5%, 10% of it. 60% is like, I don't want to look like a dickhead. Like, I don't want to look like an asshole. Like, I don't think people can actually discern who's being smart or sophisticated here and who's being a dickhead. Like, I think people just kind of mash you all together, and then what remains here? The remaining 30% is just like, it just feels like time and energy spent that I could be spending on doing other things. But right now, my job is growing. My job is like grow the platform. So I'm actually asking you, like, what are the keys to doing a good internet sparring without having it cost you actually anything?
Well, you have to try not to offend a large group of people by the things that you're saying and individualize your attack. Like, that's the main thing. As long as you keep it pretty individual and you're just talking to that person, other people don't get too mad in that regard. Right? They're like, oh, he must really not like that person. They don't treat it as you're attacking a group of people. And I think that people leave too many generalities in their attacks or criticism. And that really throws you off.
And are there lingering effects afterwards? Like, if you saw Brady Quinn at a workout right now or at an NFL office, like, would you guys, like, would it be like Peter Griffin and the chicken?
Yeah, like the Brady Quinn thing for me is different, right? Because he was like real life disrespectful before I said anything to him. And that's why I addressed him in general. Like, that is real angst. A lot of the other people, I just think they're silly. So, like, I saw Sage Steele after our little spat, and I just didn't speak to her. Like, I ignored her. She tried to shake my hand. I'm like, no, I'm not rocking with you. Brady Quinn's situation is a little bit different. He's somebody who, like, I'll probably say something. In fact, like, Ryan Russillo, me and him, before I actually got cool with him, we actually got cool over a spat on Twitter, but it was nothing personal. We just kind of thought the other person was saying something stupid. And that's how, but we saw each other and we spoke. So I guess it just depends on, like, the level of disrespect that goes into the initial conversation.
Is there anything real underneath it? Like, this is the part that I do get caught up on. Like, I was talking on the show earlier about how I'm not gonna read my DMs for a little while because, like, it's just too much. It's just too much. And I'm like, is this real? Like, if I see these people in real life, like, will they air these same grievances with me? Will they say something to me in real life? Will they block me, you know, at a grocery store and be like, hey, I got to take this up with you?
No, they're not. People are there's such, the level of anger, the things that they say are so much more brazen on the internet than they are in person. There's very few people who have the courage or the gall to actually have a real issue in person. I go out with one of my clients is one of the more famous people in the country, and he went through a very public saga where literally his Instagram and Twitter was filled with hate messages, things of that nature, and never once has anybody said something to him in person.
Wow.
And that's, like somebody who everybody knows. Like, people might miss you or they might not even know who we are, even though they talk bad to us on the internet.
That's a
But
fact.
they know him and everybody else knows him, and he's never got one negative comment in person.
That's actually kind of a relief in a way. So, okay, you saw, I read to you, or I sent to you what Shaq said to me, and I wondered, I came up with my own response, which was like, mostly to like, sort of respectfully just be like, hey, dog, like, I didn't even say that. And also, like, what I really wanted to say was, oh my God, I love you, Mr. Shaq, but like, I didn't say that. Now, if I really had wanted to, like, here's the question. You are very good at getting people to engage and getting them to continue to engage. Like, how do you do that? What is the magic trick that you do on people to get them to stay in the fight with you?
I usually attack something that they have expressed particular vulnerability about. And that is what allows me to kind of keep, because they always want to like right their previous wrongs. If they've expressed some level of insecurity about it, then likely they knew that they were wrong in that moment anyway.
So do you go look for it in the moment, or do you just already know it?
A lot of the people that I joust with on social media are people that I don't like for things that they've done previously, and those are the things that they're defensive about. So that's where I kind of just, needle them a little bit. But Shaq will be different, right? Because Shaq has never done anything that I particularly didn't like. Like, he came at you, you didn't go at him. So I would have probably just made a joke like, boy, fuck you. And that would have been that.
Okay, last question. I supposed earlier that doing that has been good at raising your following and your profile. Like, I think it tracks to me that, like, when people see you sparring with, I don't know, Brady Quinn, Marcellus Wiley, Sage Steele, they're like, okay, if this person thinks this guy is important enough to go back and forth with, I mean, Marcellus Wiley even addressed you on his TV show. Like, if they think he's this important of a voice, then maybe I should pay attention to him. Do you think that that's tracks? Has that grown your profile?
It probably tracks a bit. That's not what I was thinking about when I did it, though.
What were you thinking about? You just want to fight?
I just, like, when people say things that I generally don't agree with, I feel like I have to say something, or I wouldn't be, like, living in the truth that I say that I live in. Like, I got into this job of being able to do whatever I want. Not do whatever I want. I shouldn't say that. I got in this job where I work for myself and get to create my own lane because I wanted the opportunity to speak up for things that I disagreed with. So that's what I can do now, and I should do it.
Okay, fine. Segue. That wasn't the last question then. Fine. Get your shit off. Tell me what you think I'm wrong about Zion Williamson. But before you do, tell me what you think is my point of view on Zion Williamson. Don't do what Shaq did.
No, I wasn't sure. Like, well, what I thought you were saying is that we should be more gentle with Zion Williamson with the things that he's going through. And I vehemently disagree with that.
What do you think?
There's very few people whose professional responsibility it is to be in tip-top shape. And if you're not in that, then people should call that out because that's part of your job. They're not attacking your character. And if you are depressed about that, then you need to take some time away from the game and figure out and do that mental work. Like, take care of you. But other people are just doing their job. And we can't criticize people who are just doing their job. I think that that's very difficult. So I think that it's on Zion. It's not on anybody else to be worried about his feelings or his you said depression. It's not my job to worry about that. You're in the public light. You're a basketball player. You play hundreds of $1 million to play a game. Like, you need to do your part. I don't really particularly care about your depression. And that's probably rude, but it's just because I work with pro athletes all the time.
You work with them as their coach. Like, it's your job to keep them in. It's like your job to help them perform.
Right.
Chuck's job. I mean, Chuck's job.
Basketball players.
Yeah. I mean, I think about basketball, right?
He can't be as good as he wants to be at basketball, or people expect him to be, or worth the money that he's getting because he's not in shape. That is part of the basketball conversation.
So, okay, so he's criticizing Zion for doing his job. He's criticizing how Zion's doing his job.
That's the way I see it.
And I'm criticizing how Chuck does his job, which you told me I can't do.
No, I didn't say you can't do that.
You literally said, and it's on record on this audio.
I disagree with you. Like, they should be able to criticize him. Like, that is his job. You think that, I guess I disagree. The thing is, I know that Zion Williamson needs to be in better shape.
I can agree with that. I think that much seems clear. Now, I have no idea because I'm not his coach or his nutritionist or his parent or whatever. Like, what's between him and getting in better shape? Like, I think there's a lot of conjecture that happens around Zion Williamson where it's like, oh, he lives in New Orleans, he eats too many beignets, or like, oh, like he just loves McDonald's, like he won't work out, he won't do the thing. I find that Chuck and Shaq especially, I feel like they're projecting their own shit that held them back onto somebody else without information.
They both said that they were out of shape when they were playing, and they should have been in better shape. And they talked about the things that prevented them from like achieving their greatness. And I think that's what they said particularly. Chuck probably was making more jokes about it than Shaq.
I don't actually know what Shaq said. And he doesn't actually know what I said because he thinks I told him that he called him fat. And he didn't, and I didn't say that. But anyway, all right, Q, you've made good points here. What else do you want to say? You got anything else you want to talk about before I hang up?
No. Love you.
All right, goodbye. Love you. See you later. Okay. Now what? All right. Morgan wants me to do this. I'm going to do it. It's very cute. It has nothing to do with anything we talked about today. It's literally just me choosing. This is so Morgan. It's literally just me choosing between holiday options, all right?
Go on.
Store-bought presents or homemade presents. That's number one. It's literally just saying this or that, okay? All right.
Do you want me to read these?
Yeah, you can read them. Thank you.
All right, so we're playing this or that. I've actually played this game a few times, actually.
Oh, God.
All right, so first one, store-bought presents or homemade presents?
I'm going to go with, even though I think there's one person in my family who makes very good homemade presents, which is my sister, but she is like a tactile, creative person. She can like knit, and she enjoys knitting. Excuse me. She's also just like, she's a creative person. She's always like getting her creative energy out through her fingertips in different ways, and sometimes that turns into very nice gifts for our family. I'm going to go store-bought, though. Like, for me, I mean, what am I going to make people? I've literally thought to myself different times, and like, what I'm good at is writing. Am I going to, like, write somebody a story for Christmas? No. So, store-bought gifts. That's it. The end.
All right. Next up is snow or no snow?
Morgan. Okay. I'm going to go with snow. I think snow, you need like a background. You need a visual to go with Christmas. And I feel bad for people who live in places that don't get snow around Christmas time. I'm like, a part of the joy of Christmas is being like a little, like, you're not actually stuck, but like being a little bit stuck inside with the people that you want to be with or who you're stuck with. It also like it brings the other things together, like the food. You know, I'm so fucking bloated, by the way. I hope anybody can relate. I'm bloated from just like eating so much shit this month, and it's cold outside, and I just feel like 10 pounds heavier. But snow. I'm from Maryland. We have had big blizzards in my childhood, like East Coast, live in New York. The snow adds something, and it's kind of sad that there's no snow happening right now because of the ozone layer. So
I'm going to throw one in here just for shits and giggles.
Please.
even though you don't work in the corporate life anymore, holiday party or no holiday party?
Oh, I'm all about the holiday party. I have some of my best memories of working in corporations are like
Go on.
going to the holiday party or going with a date to her holiday party. That's actually, well, I'll come back to that. That's probably the best holiday party is somebody else's holiday party, because like part of the thing with the holiday party is like you get a little bit too drunk, you have a little bit too much whatever, and you slip and like say something you're not supposed to say out loud to a colleague, like either about how you actually feel about them or somebody else in the room.
It's a dangerous game.
It's a very, but that's like kind of the, like, so when I worked at Google, oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. I was like,
Dog, when I worked at Google this was 2010 to 2014. So this was like, everybody feels this about every part of their life, but I think this was Google's golden era. This was like right before people decided Google was evil, and Google was spending like crazy on these parties. There was one in San Francisco where it was held at like a castle, and they did another one at a castle in a winery another year, but like there was like gigantic ice sculptures all over the room, and like buffet, like not buffet, but like, you know, food options everywhere you can see, unlimited bar options, people serving, you know, walking in between. Food's always free at Google, so there's no bar situation. It's not like you don't have to have money for anything, but just like it was such an international company, and this was the company holiday party. So like people came from fucking Africa, Asia, Europe, the Middle East, India. It was like all these people looking on, like, this is something that was also underrated about Google, is like people who worked at Google at that point in time, I don't know what it's like anymore, but like the people were really good looking. Like I think that was almost like a part of the thing, was that it was so incestuous, and it was so, and like the people were pretty. Like they were being taken care of at work. There was all this like holistic yoga and mental training and transcendental meditation if you want it, and healthy food and workout options, and like everything in your life was so taken care of that everybody was just like in good shape, in high spirits at that point in time, and just like beautiful. I don't know. I just have really fond memories at the party. And then everyone, your boss, everyone is shit-faced. Everyone. Like real drunk by the end of the thing. Like start off and you kind of like do the first, and this is every holiday party. You kind of like, you do an hour with like your first two drinks. Maybe 2 hours for your first two drinks. I don't know. You do an hour first two drinks, and then your third, fourth, and fifth happen in the span of like 45 minutes. And then you look up and it's only like 9:45 and you're like, you don't know where your date is. You don't know where your team went. You're just kind of like out at sea with the colleagues, and like you get home however you get home. It was a mess. So I love the holiday party, and I went with someone to a holiday party at a design company years ago. Was it called Milk? Something like that, over in Dumbo. But being the plus one to someone else's holiday party is another step up, because it's just like the shame that you feel the next day after the company holiday party is a real down. It's like a real downer.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't know what you said. You don't know who you said it to. You heard things you didn't want to hear. That's another thing about being a black person at a holiday party, is like,
oh yeah,
white people are telling you shit you don't want to know, and you don't. And now they're like, wait a second, I told him. Now I have to like keep him contained somehow. But love the holiday party. Okay, that's it.
Let's see what else we got on this list. I'm gonna skip through a few of these. Sorry, Morgan. No offense. Be surprised or get me what I asked for.
I guess it's be surprised, because I don't really ask for anything. It is the only time that I feel comfortable asking my parents for money. I'm like, if they want to buy me something, I'm just like, can you just write me a check? Like, can you just give me the money that you would spend on the thing? Which I got from my older cousin, used to be like that, and he used to drive them crazy. And now I understand why he was like that, because it's like, let me just take this money and like apply it to my rent or my business expenses or something else. Like, I love that you bought me a framed, copy of the first Little Bow Wow album or something, but like now I have to go sell this. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. But give me money. So surprise me. Surprise is the answer.
No. Next up, and Charlotte, feel free to chime in as well. Travel or home for the holidays?
I always travel. I mean, it's always been travel for me. I always go back to Maryland for the holidays. Or when I was with someone, I would go to her family. I like traveling for the holidays. Like, it's nice for me to get out of the rhythm of the city and my normal, like waking up in my normal house and doing my normal chores. And, this time around now I get like a break from my dog, who's a very needy animal. So I like traveling.
Actually, I took that a different way. I took it because I see you as going home. I mean, it's technically traveling, but like you're going home.
Is that
but yeah, because like I'm thinking about like I've gone on vacation
right
during the holidays.
Oh, I see. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
you guys ever done that before?
I haven't. I still really do associate the holidays with like being around my parents, my friends that are at, back in Maryland. And I think there's something to be said about like, even if you're in a place where you don't necessarily want to see all the people that are at home, it is good for your rhythm of the year to have to go do that grounding exercise of like showing back where you came from, remembering like who you like, not even necessarily who you are, but just like why you are how you are in some ways.
Especially being here. Like being here is it's just
you live in outer space.
Yeah. It's a whole other world here, and it's like the minute you step out of here, you're like, oh, this is how everybody else lives. Or
now, this is an interesting year for me to go home because I have this like literally tomorrow as I'm driving home, there will be a new episode of Yearbook out, and then the final episode will come out next week on Friday, right wrapped around the holidays. Like, I became aware this week of the fact that everybody from my hometown, specifically my high school, is listening to this project. And so it will just be that will just add a layer to the experience. Like if I go to we have a really good basketball player. Supposedly we have the number one freshman in the country on our high school basketball team right now. And I want to go see him play. And naturally, like, I'm going to see some folks who I knew from way back. And like, I can already feel and see people are relating to me in a different way, because most of the kids you go to high school with, them, you leave, you might see each other 3 more times again in the rest of your life, if that, and you don't know them. Like, and that's really who I was to them. You don't know what's going on in the head of the other kids at your school. You don't know how they see you. You don't know how the things that you say and do to them affect them. You don't know what their racial, their gender experience is like. You don't know any of that shit. And now these people have all been led into that. And so I'm just going to be curious to see, how, frankly, it's brought a lot of my old black classmates, like, just like a little bit closer. And that has felt good in a lot of ways, and other classmates as well in different ways. But like, I think it's felt nice to have something affirming to the black kids that I went to school with and grew up around out there in the swirl. So I don't know how I made this about Yearbook, but Yearbook comes out tomorrow, the penultimate episode on anywhere that you get podcasts, on the Armchair Expert Podcast Network. Yearbook, hosted by me. Tomorrow is, so we did the intro episodes were like the first 2. We did 2 episodes that were kind of like the fun and the angst. I think we did the race episode, and I'm glad it's behind us. And now tomorrow, the penultimate is, frankly, like, this is the tearjerker episode. I think, Josh, you'll remember this as the episode where I was emotional.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it felt emotional the whole way through.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, yes, it's all emotional.
When we were recording that, I felt emotional the whole way through.
That's a fact.
Like, yeah.
No, we had some good talks in here during that time, but I think if you remember, there was a day where I was trying to get
I think I do know the day.
someone to bring me something to read from, and I didn't have it. So
that was a rough day.
yes, yes, it was. But are we at 1:30? Almost. We got time for. Let's do one more, and then let's get out of here.
Are you sure you want to do one more? One more of the this or that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Cookies or pie? This is an easy one for me.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm going
on the count of 3.
All right.
Everybody.
All right. Into your butt.
So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Boom. All right. Ready?
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Pie.
Cookies. Oh
no! Wait.
No! Y'all, what? What kind of pie do y'all like?
Well, there's just so many options. That's the thing. But like sweet potato pie.
Okay.
Like my mom, if there's one thing my mom taught me how to make a sweet potato pie. I'm gonna try to make it this weekend. If I have the time to do so. But yeah, sweet potato pie.
Oh
and,
shit.
That's also the thing. It's also the Thanksgiving pie too. But I mean, just having it twice is wonderful.
Can't have enough.
Yeah.
All right.
I like apple pie. That's my
apple
only
pie?
favorite pie and like my favorite dessert in general. So it trumps all
Damn.
other desserts.
I love a warm, gooey, like about this big chocolate chip cookie, like right off the pan. Like we were a big like chocolate chip cookie family. We would do the ones from scratch. We would do the ones in the bag. We would do the ones where it comes in like a long roll and you chop it.
Yeah.
Y'all have heard this. That's what my sister used to
not,
manipulate me.
I'm
to
not
get the
mad
best
at
one.
it though, because my mom would make like a homemade. My mom, I mean, it's funny. I thought everything my mom made was like a recipe off the top of her head. Instead, she took the recipe off of like the side of like the baking ingredients or whatever. But she made like these butterscotch cookies with oatmeal in them every Christmas. I definitely miss them. Haven't had them in years. Now I'm getting emotional. Anyway.
All right. When is Christmas?
Monday, which is trash. I mean, like
Interesting. All right. Well, Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Happy holidays to everybody. This, I guess, will then be our last episode before the holiday, and we will be back. We will have a show on Tuesday, but I'll be doing it from Maryland. So our next YouTube live show will be next Thursday. That's it, man. Thanks y'all for being here. I guess nope, this is not our last show before the new year, so I'm not doing any like end of year stuff. We'll get to that later, but thanks y'all. All right, this is Nothing But Anarchy at Chad Sand on Instagram, at Chad Sand. If you want to reach out to me, hit up Moby Williams on Instagram, MOBY Williams on Instagram. Go to our YouTube channel. We got merch at the link in my bio. Merch makes a great Christmas present. Yeah, whatever. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
You